Thank you all for being here today and advocating for stronger gun violence prevention bills. I am Sydney Monstream-Quas, and I'm the board chair of Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence. As a coalition, we remain committed to addressing gun violence as an urgent public health crisis. We continue to advocate for stronger laws that will help decrease gun violence in communities that are traumatized by frequent gun violence, especially in our Black and brown communities. To do anything less is not an option. With gun violence spiking in 2021, with those statistics were just released last week, to its highest level in 30 years, we need to elect leaders who have demonstrated a commitment to gun violence prevention as a top priority. The 5 candidates that we're endorsing here today have demonstrated that commitment, so today we are very proud to endorse in all 5 general officer races. So Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence is enthusiastically endorsing Governor Dan McKee, Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos, and Attorney General Peter Nerona for re-election, as well as Gregor Moray for Secretary of State and James Diosa for General Treasurer. I also want to acknowledge that we have endorsed the next mayor of the city of Providence, Brett Smiley. Thank you, Brett, for your ongoing commitment to gun violence prevention. In June of this year, Governor McKee signed 3 gun safety bills into law: the high-capacity magazine ban, banning long guns in public, and raising the age from 18 to 21 to purchase guns. Passage of these 3 bills provides much positive momentum as we prepare for the next legislative session. Governor McKee and the candidates standing here with us today have stated their support of an assault weapons ban, a very high priority for us during the last 10 years and for the 2023 legislative session. Before we hear from the general officers and candidates, I'd like to introduce my friend and fellow advocate, Christine Bendoni from Moms Demand Action.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christine Bandoni, and I'm a volunteer with the Rhode Island Chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. My remarks today are brief, you're welcome, and simple. In states where elected officials have taken action to pass gun safety laws, fewer people have died by gun violence. It's fact. Rhode Island has the 3rd lowest rate of gun deaths in the U.S., and there's a reason for that: our strong, common sense gun laws. However, gun violence continues to devastate our communities, taking more than 110 lives every single day across the country, including right here in Rhode Island. We don't have to live like this, and our children don't have to die like this. Our rights, our safety, and our freedom are on the ballot. And so is the incredible progress we've made in Rhode Island over the past 2 years, passing 5 gun safety bills, including a prohibition on high-capacity magazines, into law. But we have so much more to accomplish together, and we can't afford to slow down now. Our choice couldn't be more clear. Governor McKee, Lieutenant Governor Matos, Attorney General Nerona, Representative Moray, and James Diosa are true gun sense champions who are committed to advocating for policies and programs to reduce gun violence and save lives. Let's make sure they win in November so they can keep making our communities safer. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. I'd like to welcome Governor Dan McKee to the podium. When our elected officials pass and sign gun violence prevention bills into law, you are showing your commitment to protecting all Rhode Islanders from gun violence. We thank you for making gun violence prevention a priority.
Well, thank you for all being here. A lot of good things happen in this room. I've been here several times and looking to make sure that we live in safe communities, and that's what we're here to talk about. And so I thank the Coalition Against Gun Violence for their endorsement and also for endorsing the candidates that are running for general office right now. The Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, soon-to-be Treasurer, soon-to-be Secretary of State, and I'm happy to be here with the new Mayor-elect here from Providence as well. So a few months ago, and I also want to recognize Speaker Sakachi and Senate President Ruggiero. When I sat down with breakfast with them as the session was moving on and coming out of the backdrop of that horrific attack in New York and Texas, I asked them, what can I do to get this to my table? And they got it to my table, and I was happy to sign. And grateful for the leaderships of Moms Demand in every town as well. A few months ago, like I said, we moved through the General Assembly, and without their help, bills don't get to my desk. But Shannon Watts was here in Rhode Island with many of you as we signed several bills to keep Rhode Islanders safe at home, at school, and everywhere in between. Safe communities are healthy communities. Healthy communities have a good economy. And that's what we want. We want people to live safely and families to live safely in our state and to enjoy bringing up their families in a safe environment. So raising the age from 18 to 21, prohibiting open carry of loaded rifle or shotgun in public, and banning large capacity magazines have done exactly that. Families live safer in the state of Rhode Island as a result of this legislation and the leadership that's behind me today, as well as in the General Assembly. We have more work to do, including to ban assault weapons, and it will take collaboration with the General Assembly to pass legislation. I believe we'll get this done. And in the backdrop of the endorsement today, we all have candidates that are running against us. My opponent would never have signed the bills that I signed, and she would never advocate for the bills that are going to be coming to my desk in the spring. So on November 8th, vote for everybody standing here with me today to make Rhode Island a safer place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you.
Councilwoman Tremaine up here. She is clearly a strong advocate for our efforts to please join us. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. I would next like to invite Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos, who's been a very strong advocate for gun violence prevention as Providence City Council President and now as Lieutenant Governor.
Good morning. Thank you, Sydney and Christine. And I want to thank Eric, who has been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, making sure that this legislation moves through the State House and also get to the governor's desk to be signed. I want to thank and acknowledge my fellow candidates and elected officials that are here today. Governor McKee, thank you for signing those bills. It makes a huge difference to have a governor who understands that gun safety is a priority. So thank you for signing those bills. And I want to thank the AG Nerona, who was a leading voice also on to make sure that we got those bills passed during this past session. Gregor was one of the state reps that was there and that actually had the opportunity to vote and make this happen. Thank you for what you do. And I have to say that working with former Mayor Joe Staff and now running for treasurer is truly a pleasure. We have been spending the weekend together almost from one thing to the other. And it's good to be in good company with people that understand that gun safety is a priority. In having Mayor-elect Smiley, who also supports this issue, knowing that we have to make our schools safe here in the city of Providence and in the state of Rhode Island. One of the early experiences that I had as an elected official, when I was a council person, I had to organize a vigil for a little girl. She was 12 years old, and she was a victim of gun violence. There was a fight going on between two groups, and she was just sitting outside Harper Avenue with her family, enjoying a celebration. And she was a victim of gun violence. And it was really tough to organize that vigil because I wanted to make sure that we remember her, that she shouldn't have been a victim of gun violence. She should have been able to grow up to be a strong woman and be able to have her family around her for many years. But unfortunately, she was in what we call at the wrong place at the wrong time. But we have to stop that. We have to make sure that being outside in front of your house is not being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And the only way we're gonna accomplish that is making sure that we keep bringing forward more legislations that are gonna ensure that we have gun safety in our communities and ensure that our communities are safe. So I want to thank you for your endorsement and your support. I'm promising you that I'm going to continue to work really hard with all of you until our communities are safe. Thank
you. Attorney General Peter Neruda has year after year submitted a package of gun violence prevention bills and has been a very strong advocate of the passage of very many life-saving bills. So please.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank the Coalition of Moms Demand for this endorsement. It is incredibly meaningful to me, as I know it is to my fellow candidates for office, all of whom have been strong supporters in this long and steady march to making our communities safer. And let's make no mistake, it has been a long, sometimes difficult, but steady march to safer communities. If we go back and look at this issue through the lens of time, we go all the way back to the red flag laws. We go back to the straw purchasing laws. We go back to the ghost gun laws. We go back to the laws that the governor signed into law just this year. Those laws have made the people of the state of Rhode Island safer. People who are the subject of or victims of domestic violence are safer, because red flag laws take the guns out of people's hands who would harm them. Our schools are safer. Children are safer. Teachers are safer. If you attend public events, you're safer. Our communities are safer. Why? Because until this year, it was legal to carry a loaded rifle down any street in this city or town all across Rhode Island, and the police couldn't ask a single question as to why you were carrying that loaded rifle. Rhode Islanders are safer as a result. In this very city, when 9 people were shot on Carolina Street, and the police went into that apartment afterwards, they found 60-round magazines, and 50-round magazines, and 40-round magazines, and 30-round magazines. As the mayor-elect knows, those magazines are all over this city, and all over this state. And the more rounds that are in the air, the more people get killed. A ghost gun, AR-15, was used to beat a woman. When the police were called and came down that street in response to that domestic violence call, the person wielding that AR-15 came out of the house and fired rounds at that police officer. That was a ghost gun AR-15. We're prosecuting that case because those guns are illegal. Ghost guns. Make no mistake, there are ghost gun AR-15s, kits that you can buy online and build in your own home that are on the streets of Providence and everywhere today. Because that is illegal today, We're able to prosecute those individuals and get them off the streets. Rhode Islanders are safer because of these laws. The ghost gun legislation. We have charged over 50 ghost gun cases. Ghost guns are guns that have no serial numbers, they can't be traced, you don't have to pass a background check to get them. If you're under a red flag law, nobody knows. So it should come as no surprise that criminals go online and buy 80% ghost gun kits and drill them in their homes and use them to murder people and shoot people and threaten people in Providence and beyond. Rhode Islanders are safer because we now have a law that can get those individuals off the street. This is not an issue on which you can be on the sideline. This is not an issue on which you can be on the fence. Every one of my fellow candidates has taken a strong position on these issues, and Rhode Islanders are safer as a result. And so I'm proud to stand with them, all of them, the governor, the lieutenant governor, Representative Moray, former Mayor Diosa, as we continue to fight this battle to make Rhode Islanders safer. So again, I want to thank the coalition and Moms Demand for the endorsement. I am proud to stand with all of you in this fight, and we will continue to do this work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from candidate for Secretary of State Gregor Moray, who has sponsored and co-sponsored many gun violence prevention bills as a 10-year member of the House of Representatives.
Good morning. First, I want to thank the moms and the coalition for the endorsement. I wish that your organization didn't exist. I'll take you back to when I was elected to the General Assembly. About 2 weeks before I was sworn in, the tragic events at San Diego happened. And I was amongst a handful of legislators who submitted legislation prior to the session that would have banned assault weapons. It was a long, arduous process. I see Matt Drezek in the back here who worked with me on many of those bills. And over the course of that period of time, we have made that progress. I was proud to be on the ground floor of that progress with the misdemeanor domestic violence bill that turned into the red flag law. You know, I teach history, and we talk sometimes about American exceptionalism, and that can be interpreted any way you want to interpret it. But in schools, where I spend most of my day, we're exceptional for a terribly bad reason. We are the only nation that suffers school shootings at the rate that we do. When people come in to tour our beautiful new facility, East Providence High School, inevitably questions are asked about the safety mechanisms that are built into this school. Bulletproof this, closed doors that. It saddens me. It saddens me that that's the discussion we're having, because we could discuss the great educational opportunities that that school allows, and we're talking about school safety in relation to weapons. American exceptionalism. These are weapons of war. An AR-15 is a weapon of war, plain and simple. Large capacity magazines are weapons of war. You know, we can go into a lesson from my AP history class and talk about the Second Amendment and the idea that we were trying to prevent a standing army, a large standing army. Well, that ship has sailed. This has now become a crisis in America. So I'm incredibly proud to stand with my fellow candidates, as well as Councilwoman Germain and Mayor-elect Smiley, to lead on this issue. We're lucky to have the statewide candidates that we do, gathered together, united on this issue. I'm proud to have the endorsement. I'm proud to be here today. Thank you very much.
And now we have candidate for General Treasurer James Diosa. He is a founding member of Mayors Against Illegal Guns and has supported our gun violence prevention efforts since he first took office as mayor of Central Falls. Thank you.
I'm incredibly grateful to be here today and to have earned the support of these incredible groups who have both done so much to stem the tide of gun violence in the Ocean State. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Christine. And thank you to the hundreds of advocates across our state whose voices echoed in the halls of our State House and in the protests in the streets. I'm also honored to be endorsed alongside 4 incredible candidates who together make up our Democratic ticket. When it came time to take strong and decisive action and pass crucial gun reform here at home, each of the officials by my side proved their willingness to make meaningful progress. Representative Moray urged passage in the halls of the General Assembly, and Lieutenant Governor Matos was a steadfast advocate, and the governor, being a former mayor and understanding this issue very well, signed each bill, and I have every confidence that Attorney General Noronha will ensure that they are upheld in our judicial chambers. But there's more to be done. Make no mistake, families across our state continue to needlessly suffer as a consequence of gun-related violence. I saw it firsthand in Central Falls. I've had conversations with sisters, brothers, fathers, and mothers whose world was shattered by the pull of a trigger. I saw their tears, I felt their pain. That is why, as treasurer, I will do all I can to ease the financial burden on those families that have suffered. Through the Victims' Compensation Plan, I will provide necessary relief to those who have needlessly suffered as a consequence of gun-related crime. I will also be an ally in this fight for change. I will stand alongside the Coalition Against Gun Violence and Moms Demand Action as they continue to push government officials to enact common-sense gun laws that will help end the scourge of gun violence once and for all. Thank you again.
Thank you all very much. One announcement, in terms of the press, because of tight time schedules, if you have questions, you can take questions off to the side afterward, but we're not going to take questions up here at the podium as people have big days ahead of them. But we are so proud to endorse all of these candidates here today, and we are confident that with this team of gun safety advocates, we will pass more gun violence prevention bills in 2023, including an assault weapons ban, helping to make all Rhode Islanders safer from gun violence. Thank you.
All the volunteers kind of huddle around the podium a little closer, and then the candidates, Mayor-elect up in front of the podium for a photo. Sydney and Christine also.
Pat, we're going to take pictures. Let's get ready.